All right, so we are starting out where you guys have been captured by the Drow. You wouldn't wish this fate upon anyone, yet here you are, locked in a dark cave. The cold, uh, heavy-weighted metal tight around your throat and wrist, um, and you are not alone. Other prisoners are trapped in here with you in this underground outpost far from the light of the sun. Your captors include a cruel Drow priestess who calls herself Mistress Avara, the House Minzern. Over the past several days, you've met her several times, robed in silk garments, flanked by two males, Drow. One who has a massive scar along the one side of his face and neck. Let's see. Mistress Lavara is likely to impress. Alright, so essentially she's been pretty much torturing you each day for a couple of hours. And you guys have been put into different shifts with the other prisoners, doing manual labor around the outpost. Pretty much whenever she's torturing you, she's not really asking much questions, but inflicting pain and reiterating the fact that accept your fate, learn to obey, and you may survive. And some of you, let's see, Alfonzo, you've been here for about 9 days. In these 9 days, you have done tasks that have gone from helping lower and raise a lift up to the outpost down to a cavern floor, which you cannot actually see and don't know how far down it is. Nothing on the bottom of the cavern illuminates. And most of the sounds around you, all you can hear is the waterfall that they've taken you past a couple times. You've been within the Drow Priestess chamber where you get tortured. All of you will have been during this time. You've been in a mess hall helping prepare food. And sometimes they just have you literally stacking rocks and then moving to another stack, all taunting you while you're doing this. Unfortunately, you can't really say or do much as you are restrained by shackles around your neck and wrist, and it's tied to your waist where you still have the movement of your feet, but not much else. And you are also gagged. Alright, so
They probably put an extra gag around Kayfar's mouth.
probably. And also you notice Ikkiki, you have in your collar you can actually see runes carved onto it. While you are in this cave and cell, some of you may have attempted to try using any type of magic or transforming to different shapes, and you notice while you're in this cell it doesn't work. You feel that the magic is going out and you've done something, but nothing actually happened. Alright, so to introduce the other prisoners that are there. The first one seems to be very talkative, even though he doesn't really speak Common very well. Is sorry. Wilpin. He's a Durgro and has been here for about a 10-day or so. The information that you've gotten out of it. He seems very nice and very friendly and kind of keeps to himself. Another individual you see handout.
I kind of want to hug Boopido.
Well, you do notice that he's very friendly and talkative. He seems very calm.
He's not just a floating head, is he? As the picture would suggest.
No, he does have a full body.
Okay, because if he was just like a like a Bugenhagen sort of like just floaty old guy, Kayfar would definitely have his hand up his robe and pretending that he's a puppet every time he tries to suck.
All right, next you see this individual. Again, doesn't really speak Common very well, but does speak Elvish. And he's introduced himself as Prince Duradel, and you've kind of gathered from what he said that he's been polymorphed from an elf into this form as some sort of punishment. But he definitely wishes to get back to his people and back to his normal self and true identity.
Well, if nothing else, he looks good for a bugbear.
He is actually
Quaggoth.
a Quaggoth.
Still looks good for a bugbear.
Right.
What language does Boopido speak?
My notes disappeared. This is what happens when we take a couple weeks off. He speaks Dwarvish and Undercommon. Next, you find a shield dwarf who speaks perfect Common and Dwarven. She's very proud of her heritage and unfortunately was captured and wishes to make it back to her people. And definitely is not fond of any of the individuals that have grown up in the Underdark. She does kind of make snide marks about some of the other prisoners and her Drow captives. Next is a deep gnome. Again, speaks perfect Common as well. Yes, Jimjar. He ever since he first met you, or if he was on one of the crews that works with you, he's always constantly trying to make wagers, and will try to get your part of the rations of food that they provide, things like that. Next in the cell is a orc. Ront. He is almost your stereotypical orc in the fact that he likes to throw his weight around and prove that he's very strong. He's part of the Ice Shield tribe, as he's told you many times. Next, you see a male Drow, actually. He is very calm and seems to have just taken his lot in life. He doesn't seem to fight any of the other drows or cause a fuss. Keeps to himself and is actually kind of protective of one of the other prisoners, who you have come to be known as called Stool. And it looks kind of like a little mushroom.
I mean, that picture looks like the back of a turtle.
Yeah.
It really does.
And then lastly, you see this individual. Very
Oh god, it's hideous! Get it away!
Very fish-like Koto, I believe is how you pronounce it. Toa? Yeah. So one of the fish individuals that you've heard of from the Underdark. He seems to be very much keeps to himself, is very calm and actually unsettling calm how he is. He doesn't seem to argue with anyone. He'll give up anytime he is pressed on his food or anything like that, and is willing to share without any resistance, actually. And then, sorry, there are two more individuals in this. And there are two more deep gnomes that look to be probably twins. Spend a lot of time conversing to themselves. Muttering to each other. Skittering around the small areas, just staying to themselves in the corner. It's not a very big cave where you're at. In fact, it's almost like you guys are sitting pretty much right next to each other in the cave. And there's a huge metal door that has a small grate at the bottom where they have been supplying food and water once a day to you. So you guys have all been here. You now know that the outpost has seems to be a fair amount of drow at the facility that you guys have either been serving or helping clean up after, taking chamber pot from either the slave quarters or other quarters down to the waterfall to drop it and dump it into the lake below, or what you presume as you haven't seen it. But we now join after about a few days of being there. 9 days for Alfonzo. The newest being Kayfar, showing up only 2 days ago.
My first day, I convinced the orc that the fish boy was going to try and steal his food. Probably got fish boy beat up. Right. It was hilarious.
And when you do get taken out, you get to see. This is kind of what the area looks like. So you can tell the inside of the stalagmites where stuff has been built, like the priestess chambers, the drow guard posts are built in a couple of the stalagmites. Yours is set into the cave, and you believe when you go out off to the right, there is more quarters, but those are for the other guards, the Korgoth that are also around. You've also seen other slaves be thrown off the edge and never to be heard from again whenever they would act up. Or heard rumors for some of the newer individuals.
What is Stool again?
He is... Yes. A
myconid.
Yes. Myconic sprout.
And Stool is a favorite of our captor?
No. One of the prisoner Drows he is befriended. They seem to be getting along together. They actually seem to be communicating as well. But you don't really ever hear Stool talk.
Can I reach out to try to talk to Stool?
Yeah.
Can I do it telepathically?
Do you have the capabilities of doing it telepathically?
I have a bond with the myconids, and they gave me the ability to meld.
All right. So yes, you would be able to. When you approach it, you see that some spores kind of come out, and you are then able to inhale them and be able to understand the creature.
I'm going to say greetings. My name is Ikkiki.
This is I'm Stool.
How long have you been here, Stool?
Not sure. Long. Been a while. We just want to go home.
Do you know why they captured you? Or us?
No. Not really sure. I assume to be sold as slaves or fed to whatever beast.
I hear mushrooms go delicious in a pie.
You see him kind of just cower back.
Ignore him. He's hungry. He doesn't mean it.
What? Hungry? No, I would never eat a mushroom. Too dirty.
There you go, Stool. You're safe.
But it's not me you need to worry about. By the way, I can't hear anything that Stool's saying because I haven't got any of these spores. But I kind of leaning close to it. But the big boy over there, kind of nodding over at the orc. I see him looking at you. A little bit of drool coming out his mouth. But he's thinking about that tasty mushroom pie.
You see Stool and just kind of dart behind.
I kind of look over at Ikkiki as well. It's like, little bit of poultry mixed in there as well.
She hisses.
Yeah, I just kind of jump back and say, "Oh, now, no need to get upset. It's not me that's going to eat you."
Are my wings bound, or can I smack him with one of my wings?
Nope, your wings are completely bound in iron.
Great. There goes that idea.
Yeah, they don't want you flying around any.
Remind us what you said earlier about magic?
Anytime anyone's tried to cast magic within this cell, or say Ikkiki tried to wild shape, the sensation of casting it goes, but nothing happens.
Okay. And is that just inside the cell? We haven't been, or have we been outside of the cell at all during these days that we're in this particular prison?
Yes, doing the different tasks they've had you do, but you've been shackled and gagged. So you can't really speak or move your hands around that much. So there's not really any way to cast any spells or anything. They've kind of limited that ability.
Right.
So wait, if we're gagged, we technically can't be talking.
Inside the cell, they remove the gags when they put you back in. When they come to pick you up to do the tasks, they re-gag you. So that way you're still able to eat and, kind of relax as best as you can.
Are we like chained to a wall, or we just have our bonds, so like we have range of motion to like kind of maneuver around?
Yeah, you still have you have a collar and then wrist shackles, also kind of attached to your waist, so that way you still have full movement of your legs, but everything else you pretty much are considered restrained.
Okay. All right. Anybody got any ideas?
Only one. We stage a riot and run away while everybody else dies.
Careful.
Alfonzo smirks.
Babito.
Babito.
I did also once have an idea for a play.
Oh no.
Bobito does kind of step up and says, if you guys are planning to escape, be more than willing to help, as most of us probably would be, minus a few. Kind of looks over at the fish guy.
I think the fish guy's a spy.
That could be true.
I bet he's never seen the sky. Or eaten a steak pie.
Oh god. Is anybody skilled with like tools or like picking locks? Can we try to get these things off of us? I'd love to stretch my wings.
I'm skilled with some tools, but I don't have any of them here.
I hear fish bones are pretty narrow.
Wow. That escalated.
Well, he's been fairly accommodating so far. Who knows? Maybe he'll lend us a bone or six.
You see him just kind of shake his head and go back to sitting around. So it looks like he's meditating almost.
He's asleep. Get him.
You see like one eye kind of open up at that, and he just shakes his head.
What if somebody pulled out one of my feathers?
I reach over and yank a feather out.
Icky screams.
I reach out. I'm going to try and pull another.
No, she's gonna move very far away from him.
Yeah, I'm just going to follow.
I'm gonna stand with my back against the wall.
Come on, you're not flying anyway. You don't need them.
I'm gonna need them fairly soon when we get out of here so I can fly away from you.
Oh, why would you want to do that?
Because you're pulling out my feathers.
Well, you said you could use your feathers. I could do some
One.
decoration.
No, just one.
We did invite.
The locks. To pick the lock, not defeather me.
I take the feather that I had and I place it in my hair.
Oh, all right.
I'm regretting having feathers now.
What do your wings look like, by the way?
Like when I'm not shackled up?
Yeah. Like, are they what are the feathers like? Are they bright and colourful? Are they dark and drab? One colour, multicolored?
So towards the quill part, it's like a dark bluish teal gray, like just a dark, and then it fades out to a silver.
All right.
It doesn't go with your color scheme, I'm sorry.
Oh, it absolutely does.
I'll take it back now.
But anytime I see that you drop a feather, I just take it and put it in my hair. I even trade other
We'll
people.
see how pesky you are by how many feathers you have in your hair.
Yep, I trade other people's food for feathers if somebody else picks them up as well. I come up with some way of negotiating for somebody else to give up their food so that I can get this feather.
Oh, the one guy definitely will try to bet you anything for us. He actually walks up and says, bet you I can end up stealing more feathers in the evening than you can. I'd even wager my rations for the day. My soup, that broth that they give us.
That you can take more feathers from her than I can?
Oh, let's say by tomorrow mealtime, see who has the most feathers.
It's an interesting bet. I'm not going to wager my food. I'll wager somebody else's. Why don't you wager her food? And I point over at Ikkiki. After all, if she loses her feathers, well, she's not going to need the food. Less weight to carry around. Doesn't need as much energy.
I don't think it works that way.
Shh, you.
So our feet are still, like, we can still walk, right?
Yeah, you still have full movement.
So theoretically, I could still use my talon attack.
Oh, well, you could, I guess.
I'm just going to start tapping a talon, kind of like the raptor from Jurassic Park. Says, anybody wants to take a feather? I'm hungry. Go ahead.
I would be. You know what? I'll make you a deal. If you're able to get 10 feathers from her by tomorrow, I'll give you my food if you give me the feathers.
Excellent.
But if you can't get at least 10 more feathers from her, and that's at least 10 more feathers, then you have to give me all the feathers you do manage to get and your food.
Not a problem. That's an easy.
I turn over to Ikkiki with a massive smile on my face.
Still tapping my talon.
He then just kind of turns and goes back to his corner and staring in your direction. Nodding.
I don't really have lips, but I'm going to lick my beak and just kind of tap my talon a little bit more and be like, deep gnome. It's been so long since I've had that. I'm going to sit against the wall and on top of my wings. So no feathers are exposed except for my face. Next
Hey, everybody.
To Drow and Stool.
Hey everybody! Whoever gets the most of the turkey's feathers by this time tomorrow, I'll give up my lunch for them.
I'm not a turkey.
So anybody that wants an extra helping of lunch, better get plucking.
Oh, some of you are not going to make it out of here.
You see most of the other prisoners just kind of chuckle a little bit, but stick to themselves. They don't seem too interested in it.
Can I talk to the Drow?
Sure.
Since I'm sitting next to him.
Sure.
How long have you been here?
I've been here long enough. I actually don't remember how many days it's been. I don't really care. I just wish they would hurry up and take us to Menzoberranzan so I can either be sacrificed or whatever they have in store for me.
Oh.
What? You seemed a little shocked by that response? I was disgraced, and that is how the Drow treat their disgraced.
I mean, no desire to try and escape and start over?
To what purpose?
Precisely.
Self-preservation.
Yeah, once you're here, that's largely gone. No longer in your control.
Yes. Well, as I said, I was captured and disgraced and imprisoned, as my sentence is for anyone accused of murdering another fellow Drow warrior. This is just the way things are.
You're in here because you killed a Drow?
I am in here because I was caught.
Well.
Loth provides that we try to do things in secret.
Well, if anybody wants to know my tale, I was actually brought here because I almost overthrew a minor Drow noble house by borrowing a pen. But unfortunately, somebody else stepped in, and here I am.
This seems quite unlikely.
Well, so you say, but you never know.
Yes, that is true. So odder things have happened. So most of individuals not Drow don't have the skill to do such.
The Drow are too predictable. It's easy to get the best of them.
Yes, the lessers. That is definitely true of. But if I heard correctly, you all were talking about trying to escape? Or is that just prison talk?
Yeah, so I thought it would be fun when I first got here, but it's been 2 days and I'm getting bored. I think it's about time to leave.
Did you think it would be fun here?
Why wouldn't it be? Torture, prisoners. It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Sometimes you just gotta shake things up, shake things loose, see where the chips fly.
And how are you going to fly? Are you going to use that feather?
Maybe if I get enough of them. I kind of look over to Ikkiki again and give her a wink.
Uh-huh. Have fun with that. Can I, like, inspect my bonds and see if there are any weaknesses, like an investigation check or something?
Sure.
Everything's fine.
You get a feeling that they are pretty sturdy locks, and it would take a hefty amount of strength or even very skilled individual to unlock them.
She starts scanning the room, and her candidates are the orc, Alfonzo, and then the female dwarf. Hey, Alfonzo, you want to try to pull these off me?
Ain't worth it. Won't work. And he'll just
Well,
kind of rattle his own chains.
Somebody shoved a blue bird in you. Hey, Mr. Orc, you want to try to get these off me?
Be able to take them off yourself.
Uh-huh.
Not strong enough. I take it.
I'll give you my food.
I could take your food if you can break out of your own chains.
Uh-huh. I'm gonna go sit back down now.
You do that. Suggest you'll get to sleep soon. Be back in a little while to start the next day's labor.
Oh, goody.
You see a couple of them start to like bed down for the night.
And I'll find any that seem the most frail. I'll be over by them and just sing a soothing lullaby.
All right. That does seem appreciative from a couple of them. You do hear what seemed to be the Drow guard outside kind of bang on the gate every once in a while so you can keep it down.
So I'll sing softly.
Right.
You keep it down.
All right. So, the rest of you doing for the evening?
Kayfar will not shut up. He is chattering about all kinds of shit. He doesn't even care who he's talking to. Sometimes he'll be having conversations with himself, but he is talking.
All right.
Sometimes he even seems to get almost angry with himself. The conversation that he's having with himself, kind of arguing with himself a little bit.
All right. Bildo will also kind of join in your conversation every once in a while as well. You see, he kind of is very interested in whatever you say, and then he'll start going on a rant about himself as well.
See, even he agrees.
All right. So Alfonzo, and then what are you guys doing?
Alfonso will just approach Eldith and just ask, seeing a fellow dwarf, he's just going to ask her where she's from and how she ended up down here.
When you walk over, she seems to be pretty much in high spirits. She says she was in the Underdark looking, kind of look for places to reclaim ancient dwarven kingdoms. She's pretty much, when she was captured, that's what she was doing. She was looking around to find more places. She is from
Gondelgrim.
Gondelgrim. And seeing as you're kin, she asks if any possibility, if you guys are breaking out or anything, and if she passes or dies, if you can find her shield and warhammer and take it back to her family, she would be greatly appreciative. But she definitely isn't too thrilled with the situation she's in, but she seems in pretty good spirits otherwise.
If you die, should I take your head there as well? That way they know that, it's yours. And at least then they can bury part of you.
She just kind of shakes her head as elves.
Kind of crook an eyebrow, like it was an honest question.
There are worse things than death, and this might be one of them.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm having a great time. I mean, I'm getting a little bored now, but all in all, it's been a fantastic experience. I would highly recommend it.
Ikkiki?
I'm kind of sulking, sitting by myself in a corner, protecting my wings.
All right. Is anyone actually planning to sleep, or are they going to stay up?
I mean, eventually I'll end up probably falling asleep, but yeah, I'll probably be talking shit to myself until the wee hours, and then I'll get some sleep.
Yeah, Alfonzo is he's just sticking to routine. He's just gonna go to sleep when he's tired, and know that there's another day of work ahead of him. And if the opportunity to escape arises, he'll take it, but it's not here.
One of the worst things about Kayfar is that he even talks in his sleep.
And Imeávie wonders about, let's see. I wonder if I could work around this anti-magic field to cast silence.
All right. Well, eventually, I guess everybody does fall asleep, but definitely not a restful one. The cave is obviously not most luxury of accommodation, so cold floor, rocks jabbing every once in a while, so you toss and turn. And at one point, Ikkiki, all of a sudden you seem to be dreaming, or you think you're dreaming, but dark shadows all seem to be moving around, like reaching towards you as you seem to be wandering endlessly through mazes of tunnels. And all the while you hear this chattering in the back of your head, but you can't really make out what it is.
It's
Is
probably
it Kayfar?
Kayfar.
I was thinking that too.
It definitely seems more devious and terrifying than Kayfar.
I take offense to the fact that it can be more devious and terrifying than Kayfar.
Do I recognize the tunnels?
No, you don't even. When you try to examine them, it almost seems like they're not even caves. It's more like shadows. It just don't make sense, and it's extremely eerie.
All right.
So this goes on for a little while, and then all of a sudden the walls just all become oily tentacles that reach out and grab you, engulfing you. As everything goes black, you wake up. If you could sweat, you would be covered in it from the emotions that you felt and fear that just uncontrollably overwhelmed your body.
All my feathers are definitely fluffed up. Definitely fluffy right now.
And you do see Jim Jar was?
I thought it was one of the twins.
No, the twins have been very much to themselves. No, it was Jim Jar. He's kind of standing over you. He has at least 2 feathers in his hand. Seeing you kind of wake up, he backs away really quickly.
Can I grab him with my foot?
You could try to grab him with your hand still.
I'm going to try to grab him with my hands and then pin him with my talons.
Alright, so go ahead and give me a sec. Right, so you are able to grab hold of him. He immediately drops the feathers. And it's like, sorry, I was just trying to, win that bet. No harm done. Please, here, take them.
What good are they going to do me? I can't put them back.
Of course you could. I mean, it's no
I'm
problem.
going to push a little bit harder with my foot.
It's okay. No harm done. Truly, if you want, I can try to see if I can give you the rations that I do have, or next week's in payment. I don't want to cause any trouble. I don't want to rouse the guards. We don't need them coming in here and shooting us with their poison.
Ikkiki is just going to hiss and very slowly let him up.
Thank you. You see kind of wipes out to try to grab the feathers he dropped. You don't actually notice him. And he then just apologizes and scurries away.
Mm-hmm.
I like Jim Jar.
Oh,
Did anybody else have bad dreams?
not everybody is awake.
Not yet.
I'm B.
Well, I am awake.
Oh, okay, so you didn't sleep.
Well, I do sleep, but everybody in a trance, and I don't trance for very long.
Oh, right, okay.
And she's also like fully aware of her surroundings while trancing.
I wish I could trance so I wouldn't have to have those dreams.
All right. So, in the middle of your trance, you do start to have visions. This time it's almost as if you're just sitting there in the cave, but all of a sudden wounds just start to appear on your body as something is slicing into you. And as the cuts happen, they kind of burst open, and clouds of spores or maggots start to crawl out. A couple of spiders crawling out of one. And it just continues to happen.
I scream myself awake, yeah. Oh.
All right. So as you start to scream, you notice it doesn't break the visions for at least a couple of minutes. So it's sitting there happening until your body is completely covered in cuts, and you now have spores, clouds of spores coming out and completely covered in insects and maggots before you finally snap out of it and wake up screaming. As you look around, everybody else now is completely awake and startled by the screaming.
I was going to say, Kayfar just kind of turns over and starts sucking his thumb.
I just sort of startle around and notice everyone's kind of looking at me, that I've disturbed everyone, and I kind of scrunch myself back into a corner and just start weeping. I'm sorry.
Just then, you hear the gate open on the door as 3 Drow guards step in. One of them has his hand crossbow pulled out. They point at the 4 of you, Alfonzo, Ikkiki, Kayfar, and I say this name wrong every time.
Imeávie.
They say, "You 4, come with us. You are going to be on kitchen duty." I'm sorry, that's not right. You will be cleaning up after everyone today. So step forward, get your gags. We will be starting today's labor.
Imeávie steps forward, sort of drooping but compliant.
He then adds the gag to you, then kind of moves you over to the side while the other guards now stand with a crossbow at the ready. Go to Kayfar.
Kayfar kind of springs up and just kind of bounces happily towards the guards. He says, why so sullen? But then again, if I had a face like yours, I'd live underground too.
This is going to be another fun day with you, I guess. He then grabs a hold of you and puts the gag on.
Yep, I'm still talking even though I've got the gag in my mouth. It's just all obviously muffled nonsense instead of audible nonsense.
All right. He then just kind of pushes you back towards the guards, and then they get you kind of shackled up into a line. Moves to Ikkiki. Kind of pulls out a special restraint for your beak. Starts to put it on. And then again pushes you over towards the others who chain you to all 3 of you together. And then the last one goes over to Alfonzo. Just get up. Time to get to work.
Alfonso will get up and comply, but just stare the Drowl directly in the eyes the entire time.
After 9 days, you still have plenty of spirit. Guess the mistress will have to break this of you eventually. Maybe that's what you'll do later this evening. He attaches the gag to you and moves you over to chain you guys up.
As I'm going, I'm making quite a bit of noise, and anybody with any ability to kind of work out what muffled talking sounds like, it's him just saying, "I have a question. I have a question. I have a question."
Yeah, they completely just have tuned you out at this point.
Okay.
But they do take you out, close up the gate behind you, unlock it. They start to lead you across a rope bridge. Looks to be made of spider silk. You can see that it's very dark. You can't see the bottom, but you can definitely tell that there's some sort of movement below you. And even with the dark vision, you can't see far enough down. They take you into the first stalagmite where there are 3 guards sitting there waiting. They then gesture to pick up any of the chamber pots, things like that. Most of the guards just kind of jeer, not really pay a whole lot of attention to you as they're just sitting there talking, looking around, looking throughout the outposts and stuff. And you can see in the stalagmite they have carved out what looks to be like almost a window that they can see out. They can see, well, you can at least tell they would be able to see towards the quarters of where you were and then wherever they're going to be leading you. Does anybody not pick up the chamber pot or anything?
No, I will. I will also intentionally spill quite a lot on Ikkiki and just muffle to myself, look, now it's sticky Ikkiki. And just spend the next 15-20 minutes just laughing my ass off as I continue on.
So are you next to her in the chain line? Oh boy. She's going to throttle you with the chains. You realize that, right?
Probably.
You hear one of the guards kind of just tap you in the ribs. Says, "Watch it. Make sure to don't want to have to clean up everything around here. Try to keep it in the bowl." And then pushes the line to move on to the door that's kind of across from the other one to another rope bridge. This time, after they open the door and you step onto the bridge, following out, you are the only thing you can hear is the sound of water, as you think you're very close to a waterfall from the sound of it. It's almost deafening. They lead you for a little ways down to where you're back on the cliff, and then onto a second tiny rope bridge that leads out to another stalagmite. This time, you enter into the shrine of Loth, where you've each been restrained and tortured. And you can see that they have a couple of different places set up. This time there's not only pots for waste, but then you also see a lot of blood and cloth and stuff as well that's been placed into it. You see some of the bowls actually have chunks of skin still in them as well. So he then again gestures to retrieve the bowls.
Sure. Yeah. We'll go ahead and do that. As I pick it up, well, whenever they say or do anything, I give a really elaborate bow, pointlessly so.
All right. And
so, maybe tries sort of whispering softly with a brushing off gesture and attempts to cast prestidigitation to clean up Ikkiki.
all right. Go ahead and click it. Chat for. All right. So, You do notice that it's hard to do because of the restraints on your hands. You don't have a lot of movement to actually cast it. Plus, you are also gagged, so it doesn't seem that you are able to, with those two resistances, actually cast any.
Okay. So even the whisper and small gestures doesn't do it.
Correct. Yep. And you don't seem to get the attention of the guards when you're trying it, so they haven't responded to it.
Okay.
So after you guys get all the stuff, the bowls and everything consolidated into a bucket they have sitting, or a couple of buckets they have sitting there, they say, all right, so now we go downstairs, next chamber to get that. They open up a trap door which leads into that has a rope ladder attached to it, and you see one of the Drow climb down, the other two then gesture for you guys to do this. You are chained far enough apart to where you would be able to, but if somebody doesn't move quickly enough, it could collapse ladder.
Okay, so what order are we chained in here again?
We'll go ahead and just say that it's from left to right on the board there. So Alfonzo's first, Ikkiki, Kayfar, and then. So if you would like to go down first, you could do that, or be the one that goes down first.
No, that's fine. I just, yeah.
So the guards kind of gesture to you, waiting to see what you do.
Alfonzo will comply.
All right, so moves in to start going down the rope ladder. Ikkiki, you're being kind of pulled towards it as well as he moves.
I will try to keep closer to him just because he scares me and I don't want to incur his wrath. So, yeah.
All right. Kayfar, you are being tugged on by the chain as Ikkiki starts to move into position as well.
Yep. I'm going to go ahead and, go down the rope. I'm going to try down, go down pretty quickly so that I'm almost sat on her head.
All right. So
Imeávie.
Imeávie, you are really quickly jerked as Kayfar starts to make his way down.
I do my best to scuttle after.
Okay. You're able to kind of move along with it since you were already expecting it. When you go down this...
Yeah, I was kind of alarmed at the interactions between Ikkiki and Kayfar, yeah.
All right. So as you go down from the shrine, you are now into a chamber, which seems to be the private quarters. It's very nice with there's like pillows and stuff scattered along most of the room. There's black mesh representing spider webs kind of dangling around the room from the ceilings, making it look like curtains. Thick woven mats cover the floor, along with the cushions and pillows. It almost seems like this is just one big, large bed chamber, almost.
Kayfar just mumbles something, says something, but obviously muffled by the gag, and then starts giggling to himself.
You do see a small table and two chairs, which holds yet another small shrine to the Loth. And again, there are chamber pots, stuff like that, different types of waste that they gesture for you to collect around the room. You do also notice that there is a chest off to one of the sides as well.
I mean, we're being watched and nothing's next to there that we should be picking up.
No. You see it. It's definitely across the room away from where the chamber pots and different things that need to be picked up.
Okay.
And we're chained together, so it's not like one of us could sneak off to the side.
Correct. So again, after a little while, the guards walk over to another trapdoor. Said, "You know the drill."
Ikki's just going to follow Alfonzo if he's going down first.
Yeah, Alfonso's just complying with this right now. It's not really much to do besides that.
All right. So this goes into the lowest parts. You can see it's a little bit smaller room. This is definitely a room of some type of lieutenant or warrior that has different weapons and stuff lining the walls. There's a small area with cushions laid out across the floor mat. Again, a small table with 2 chairs and another sturdy looking chest.
And are we picking stuff in this room? Picking stuff up in this room too?
Yeah, the guards kind of get you to do the same thing.
Anything close to the chest?
No, unfortunately not.
Okay.
All right.
So are these just getting, are the buckets we're carrying just getting fuller and fuller, or are there at times where we're able to dump the contents, dispose of the contents into a cistern or whatever?
There's a couple of smaller buckets that you guys have, but yes, like in the top floor of this, there's a spot to jump into a bigger bucket that someone can carry to drop off at the end. All right, so again, they move you back up to the.
So as the buckets get heavier, do I start having difficulty carrying it, or are they not that full?
They're not that full. It's
okay.
It's kind of almost like a tedious task that they're making you do, trying to waste time and make sure that you're being observant. So that way, in case if like you get out of line, you know, others have said that they've gotten shot and poisoned or whipped, or that they've been taken back to the mistress for more torture and stuff if you're out of line. Alright, so they take you back up to the top of the shrine, lead you back out into the dark where you can still hear the waterfall. And you go to a couple other locations. Very similar, another guard post, 2 more guard posts where you pick up the same type of stuff. They then bring you back to the second drawbridge where you are. Now you have full buckets that you're carrying, and they gesture to go ahead and just dump the contents over the edge of the rope bridge.
And I'm a little slow to do so, but as I do it, I sort of stumble a bit and the whole bucket drops.
Okay. As soon as you do, you feel a lash from a whip. One of the guards, you can see, kind of brings it back and says, "Clumsy fool, that's another bucket wasted. Guess we'll have to get another one."
I'm gonna try something.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and use my Tides of Chaos class feature to give myself advantage. I'm gonna make a sleight of hand check to try and knock Ikki's bucket out of her hand, but make it look like she dropped it.
Okay.
Oh, I do a really bad job. I'm like, ugh! I just kind of bump into her, and I don't know. Let's say I drop my own.
All right. All right. So Ikkiki, you see Kayfar kind of try to move over, like he's going to bump your bucket over the edge, and instead drops his. And as soon as that happens, another crack of the whip is heard, and you feel the sting as the other guard says, "Clumsy fool! That's it. No rations for you today. You have failed at your tasks. Back to the pen."
Wait, so I got whipped?
No.
Oh.
Do we think that, so is this earlier than we would normally have been taken back to the pen, or were we at the end anyway?
You're about halfway through your shift, so it's taken about. This has gone on for probably about what you think to be about 4 hours, since there's no real daylight
I'm sure
stuff. It's kind of hard to tell.
And I'm sure we've done this before, so we kind of have an idea of.
Yeah. You do know at this point you would probably, after picking up everything, you dumped the buckets, maybe gone back to the pen to collect the stuff there, and then the Korgoth chambers to pick up their stuff, and then back to the waterfall. But they seem to be cutting it a little short.
So are they taking us back to the cells?
Yes.
When they ungag us, I give them a big smile. Like, thanks for the tour of the place. We'll be sure to loot it when we escape. Hope you have a nice day. And I just kind of saunter on back to the back of the cage.
You hear him turn to the only other guards and say something in Undercommon that I think you understand.
That I understand. I do understand
Okay.
Undercommon.
All right.
Yep,
So
I've spent some time living down here.
yeah, he you hear him just say to the other ones, it's like, this one, he's definitely going to be spider food soon. And then they remove all the gags, put you guys back in the cells, and close up the door. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Before they close up the door, they take the next set of individuals. And this time they take the twins, the Drow, and Bildo out to do whatever task they have set. Bibido, sorry.
I'm going to go find Stool and protect Stool.
Okay.
I'm going to ask Stool if we missed anything while we were gone.
He says, no, not really. Just more talking about random stuff. I was able to find out from Drow that apparently the waste that we've been dumping feeds this gray ooze that lives in the pool. Seems to be something that's very harmless unless disturbed.
Huh.
Disturbed how? Oh wait, no, I can't hear the mushroom, so I don't answer that. Sorry, I don't answer that.
Yeah, if you're like listening intently, he will kind of put out that more spores into the air. If anybody inhales it, they can actually communicate with him.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I guess I say disturb it. How do you disturb it?
I'm not sure. I assume by just going close to it or anything. I mean, it's pretty much just there feeding.
Oh, so dropping buckets on it wouldn't do it?
It's ooze. It may eat the buckets. I'm not really sure. I don't know too much about them, unfortunately.
I kind of look over at Ikkiki. I'm kind of staring at her for a moment, and then just you see a smile crack on my face, and it gets brighter and brighter and brighter until I burst out laughing at Sticky Icky again. It's rolling around on the floor.
One of these days, I'm going to hurt you.
You see a stool kind of just up and says, so is it possible for you guys to take me home? Is that, I don't know if it's what you guys have been talking about or anything, but if possible, I really would like to go.
Oh, what would you give us for taking you with us?
Can you revoke his spores, Stool? Or give me different ones?
They will wear off in time.
How small is Stool?
He's very.
So I could, like, pick him up.
Yes.
I'm going to ask him if he would like to sit in my hand.
He's a little bit bigger than your hand, but.
Okay, so both hands. And I'm
I
going to tell him that I will take him home.
I think myconids are like the size of dwarves. I think.
Yeah, it's a small plant.
Oh, the sprout, yeah, because it's a sprout, so it's a young one.
I'm going to tell him that I will take him home if it is the last thing I will do. Would you like to live in my forest?
No, I really want to go to my home, Neverlight Grove. I can definitely help get you there if we get out.
Something funny, Alfonzo.
I wouldn't know. I'm not inhaling spores.
I just got shot down by a mushroom. Shut up.
I just thought it was a really good "nah, I'm good" moment.
You can see it kind of perks up a little bit, and he's like, I really want to go home. We would be able to protect you there and get sanctuary. It would, at least for some time, until you're ready to move on if you need. But it's a very beautiful place.
I will take you home, Stool.
And you feel a like glow of happiness kind of come over him.
He's so cute.
I remember my question.
Oh, Lord.
I have a question.
Did anybody hear anything?
How do you talk? You don't have lips. You just got a beak.
You want to find out how I eat, too?
I've seen you eat.
Give me your hand.
It's actually disgusting.
I'm a bird.
Yeah, I know.
And maybe I sound more like a parrot. I don't know.
You kind of look like a pigeon.
Uh-huh.
All right. So after,
I mean, if I chuck some food on the floor, will you peck at it?
Oh, I'm just going to start tapping my talons when I want to rip your face off. Tap, 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 tap.
all right.
I do not see that as a threat. I just shrug my shoulders and continue laughing.
After a little while, after a few more hours go by, the guards return with the other individuals. You can see that they're completely exhausted. A couple have lash marks on them, but they do the same thing. Come in, ungag them, and then regag. Next set, pull them out.
as they're going, I ask the guards, "Hey, were they clumsy fools too? You guys are going to need some new buckets."
They weren't doing stuff with buckets, but yes, we have the buckets that you lost.
Oh, did you find them?
I have replacements coming.
Okay, where do you get your buckets from?
You will have plenty of work.
But where do you get the buckets
That's
from?
enough from you. And you
They'll
see them
probably
kind of
make us make them.
Yeah, you see them start going about their business, just ignoring you.
Can I see if there's any keys or anything like that hanging off the guards?
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
I actually wouldn't mind doing that too.
Imeávie.
Alright, so Imeávie, you notice that the guard that stands by the gate has keys, but the other two don't seem to.
Is he actually inside or outside? Which way does the door swing?
The door swings out. So actually, I'm sorry, it slides. So he just kind of slides it over and is standing at the door in the beginning. And this time you notice that the individual is actually that same drow you've seen in the past that has the scar running down his face. Seems to not be in the best of moods.
Grumpy.
I kind of say, so what's it like just guarding slaves? Like you have to spend you have to take time out of your day to make sure we don't mess up. Like, what did you do? You obviously messed up somehow to end up here.
I do my duty. Now be quiet. I do my duty.
I mean, nobody important would be doing it.
We do as we're told by the mistress. Now, back. You see him kind of pull out the other individuals and close the gate.
We do as we're told by the mistress. Now get back. Kind of just mimicking his voice as almost a caricature of his voice.
Is Jim Jar in here with us?
No, Jim Jar is in the...
Darn. I feel like he took something, but he was really good at it.
Right. So, again, time just pretty much goes by. Not a whole lot going on. The other slaves just kind of keep to themselves, every once in a while speaking up about some random thing, almost like they're muttering to themselves. The twins being back, they definitely are scurried in the corner, kind of mumbling to themselves.
Can we make out what they're saying?
Give me a perception check. You overhear little bits and pieces of stuff that makes you think they're concerned about something. They definitely need. They want to figure out a way to get out of here, and keep hearing like before, and it's unsafe, things like that. But you don't actually get the full conversation.
Can I call over to them?
Sure.
Do I know their names?
Yes. Somebody would have told you that it's Topsy and Turvy.
I'm just gonna whisper, "Psst. Hey, Topsy, Turvy, come here."
Topsy kind of scurries over. Turvy just stays where he's. Topsy, yes? What can I do for you?
You guys want to get out of here too?
Yeah. I don't want to die here. Don't want to go to Menza Brunson and be slaves.
Will you help if we are attempting to get out?
Yeah, we will do it whatever we can.
What were you guys talking about?
Oh, just brotherly things.
So let's start with being honest if we're going to be in this together.
We weren't lying. We're talking about home and what we want to do when we get there.
And what isn't safe? Besides this place.
Here, we're trying to get out on our own.
Well, if you guys stick close with us, we are going to get out. Is Stool still with me?
Yes, they don't seem to take Stool on any other rotations.
I'm going to keep him.
Is Sereth still in the cells at the moment?
Yes, she was part of this, or he was part of the second shift, so he's back.
Okay. Alfonzo will approach him and just kind of kick his foot kind of roughly and just be like, "Hey, Drow killer."
Yes.
You're okay with just dying just like that, just rolling over and letting your own people kill you?
I was caught, and they had the evidence to get me. It is my lot in life. I do wish to go elsewhere if I could, but it is part of Loth's plan, and I'd be sacrificed.
Let's say we get out of here at one point. Are you with us or against us?
I don't see any harm in trying to get out of here if the plan is intelligent enough to do so. We're guaranteed that we would be able to get out.
Would it matter anyway? You're going to get sacrificed or sold into slavery. Like, what else is going to happen?
If I get sold into slavery, I do have a better chance of escaping if I act appropriately within the house, be amongst my people, and be able to sneak out easier to Barbarian. I can't even. Men's over.
You understand your people better than us. Let's say you're one of these Drow slave masters. What's the worst thing a couple of rabble-rousers like us could do to get out of here?
I'm not sure I fully understand your question. What is it that... Are you asking me how to get out of here, or...
Yeah, you gotta know something, man. What? How? When's our moment, right? They gotta transport us. Do we just kick open some doors, or are we just all dead meat to this poison?
To them, they will not want to kill you outright. They do wish to trade you as slavers, and it would look bad for Vara if something like that were to happen. I do know that the patrol is supposed to be here within the next 10 days to transfer us. The last supply patrol, though, unfortunately is overdue, which is unusual. Something is going on. And
that name you said, who was that?
The mistress of this outpost. My understanding is she's quite an ambitious drow who has higher plans than here. She does have her underlings, Shorn, her former lover, Jorlin, man with the scar, and then the young apprentice priestess, Asha, is here.
So wait, the guy standing in front of our gate is her ex-boyfriend?
If you would consider it that way, yes. The Drow do not think highly of men. They have their purpose. Since he is now disfigured and scarred, he's kind of lost any usefulness. Sean has now taken his spot. Definitely some animosity there.
You Drow are ridiculous. You worship women as leaders and bugs as gods.
He's still more superior than most.
So
yeah, that's why you live underground and hide from everybody else. Sure, superior.
How do you know the supplies are late?
I've listened. You still converse with some of the guards, as they do have a little bit of respect for me, more so than the rest of you, at least.
So it's a crime for a drow to kill another drow, right?
No, it's a crime to get caught for killing another Drow.
Can literally do anything in Drow society if you can get away with it.
Yep, the noble houses murder each other all the time. That's how I nearly took over one of the minor houses. Just by borrowing a pen. But unfortunately, I got caught, and I could have got away, but I thought that this would be more fun. I'll have to tell you about it sometime.
Yes. Well, there are also at least 19 other drow at this post. There are a dozen Quaggoth and a number of giant spiders. So, trying to get out of here is definitely going to be a challenge for this lot.
Did you say spiders?
Birds eat spiders, right?
That, or I can attempt to talk to them.
You're going to talk to spiders?
I am a druid.
I doubt it.
You're a druid?
Any effect on these spiders? They are.
I don't think you'll find them very conversational.
I mean, spiders are pretty crunchy, and I like them with ketchup.
Yeah, they're also twice the size.
It's fine.
That means there's plenty to go around.
Exactly. We agree on something.
All we have to do is roast them. And if we get out of here, I can handle that.
Well, I appreciate your time, Drow. And he spits on the ground next to him and walks away.
Good thing, Dwarf.
Oh dear. Is Jim Jar back?
After a few hours, they would be back.
So I have a question of something that Kayfar is specifically paying attention to. The guards that bring him back, is it the same guards each time? That like, you know, pick us up, take us out, follow us around, and bring us back?
It was... This time it was, but when they come back, the third shift comes back, it is a different set.
Okay, so the guards seem to work in 8-hour shifts?
It could seem that way. They're definitely within shifts. It's not necessarily... Within the few days you've been here, you haven't noticed if it's a set shift or not. They do switch out. You do know that they switch out.
Okay.
All right. So, the third shift of individuals comes back. This time, they go through the routine of taking out the gags, putting them back in, close the gate, and then about what you think is about 15-20 minutes later, they come back and you hear a knock on the gate, and the bottom slides open, and the first bowl of soup or stew comes through, followed by one for each individual to have.
And if I'm up near the gate, I'll work on passing them around.
All right. So you
just so because nothing was said, Kayfar takes a portion and does a little mini celebration because they said that he wasn't going to get fed, and then he did.
Yeah.
Shush! I was thinking that too, but wasn't going to say anything.
It's happened now.
Yeah, it did.
That's true.
You have everybody has one, and then Jim Jar kind of bounces over, and you see sitting in front in his hands 10 feathers.
I have a look. Are they all? Do they all look like Ikki's feathers?
Yep.
I have a feeling I'm the only feathered thing here.
Well, that right there is what I like to call a good job, and I will take the feathers.
All right.
And then I'll just kind of stare at him for a bit.
The soup, your portion.
Hmm.
Take
a sip of it. What?
That was part of the deal, you know.
Oh yeah, but then I said that whoever gets the most feathers gets wins gets my dinner. I said that after the fact, so obviously the new rule supersedes the old rule, and I actually got more feathers because, see, I have 10 feathers now. You don't have any.
Oh, no, that's not how that...
Oh, but I'm afraid so. Look, I don't make the rules.
Hey, Jim Jar, why don't you come over here real quick?
I think Ikkiki wants to talk to you, by the way. Maybe you need to smooth it over with her first. Just open it up with a light joke, sticky Ikkiki. She loves it. She loves nicknames.
I'm going to throw a rock at his face.
But I whisper it very gently to him so that you don't hear.
Oh, whether I heard it or not, his face annoys me, and he's holding now 11 of my feathers, and I want to throw something at his face.
We need to recruit Spartan's significant other so that there's somebody in the room with him who can slap him upside the head for us.
No, we're not doing that. I don't want to do that. She will. Who, me?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
I need an
It's-
international shock collar.
So it's been... No, it hasn't been 12 hours since... Well, yeah, how long has it been since we were out on our shift? It's been at least 8 hours, right?
Yes.
So, long rest?
No, because you would have slept before then, so it wouldn't have been enough time for another long rest.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. All right.
What have you used up?
So,
His
well, it
chance
wouldn't be
thing.
persuasion.
Oh,
Do you
the
think it
wild
would
man.
be-
Yeah.
It'd be a deception check, right?
Yes.
Because I'm legit lying to him.
Right, yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe you lose me, maybe not. He knows that I'm talking shit. To be honest, anybody that's been in this cage with me should have advantage on these rolls. So
He also
whether
knows
or
you
not I'm
don't
talking-
care that he knows.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
So
so
give a half-hearted token deception there.
he says, I will be back to collect on this debt. Don't
Sure.
go too far. And he kind of turns
I
to Ikkiki.
I take another sip of the soup as he walks on, but as he's walking by.
He says, yes, Sticky Icky, what would you like?
I'm going to ignore that.
I burst out laughing and drop the bowl of soup.
Is the soup hot?
No.
Damn
Not by the time it gets to us, no.
So I notice, and I'm holding up my shackled hands to kind of put pressure on the corner of my eye because it's twitching. But I noticed that you have stolen quite a few more of my feathers, which means you're very good at it. So how would you like to actually have dinner tonight and do a job for me, and I will keep my word?
Well, technically, he has your dinner. Since I offered it to you, that was why I picked the feathers, to give you your dinner. As I said, there was no harm, no foul.
Does Stool get a bowl too, and does he actually eat?
Yes.
Okay. But I have my extra bowl, and Jim Jar has nothing.
Jim Jar has his bowl.
Would you like extra food?
No, I'm content with what I had. I was attempting to win the bet off of Odd Boy over there, but he's kind of not holding his end of the bargain. I was going to give it to you.
The soup is all over the floor now.
Oh yeah. So he kind of looks back and says, never mind. I guess that's one belt I can't actually retrieve.
And I find myself whispering and twitching my fingers, attempting to clean it up, even though I can't.
All right.
So I notice you like stealing things. Is it something you enjoy doing, like a nice hobby?
I'm just okay at it. It's not anything that big of a deal. I prefer the thrill of a wager, though, more than just plain theft.
I will bet you your left eyeball that you can't get the keys off of the guard at the door. If you win, you keep your eyeball.
If I win, I have no use for your eyeball, but I don't like the thought of losing mine. But that is definitely not a bet worth anything. That wager is not worth it, the risk that it would be.
But it would be fun. And you're so good at it. And then we can leave. So it's not worth your freedom? I was mistaken. I'm sorry. I'll find somebody who's more up to the task. You have a good night.
That's perfectly fine. I would even bet that if you attempt it, you would fail. So it's no problem.
That's why I'm trying to find somebody else to do it, because I know I'll fail. But if you touch my feathers again, you will lose your left eyeball. Have a good night.
Uh-huh. You see him just kind of get a grin and turn around, go back and start to eat his stew.
Really? Because he gave it to me.
Oh.
Oh no, he had his own. That's
yeah.
right.
He gave you the feathers, not the stew.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
How careful are the so when they come in and are either returning a group of us or taking a group of us, how careful are they?
And what means?
Well, like around the, do they stand there with the one guard holding the gate open the whole time?
Yeah, there's one at the gate, and then another one comes in, has his hand crossbow out, pointed at pretty much anyone who tries to make a move, and then the other one's going and putting the gags and making sure the restraints are tight on everyone that they're taking.
Have any other prisoners tried anything around, making either the gag or the chains less effective?
A couple of them have tried to break them, but they haven't been able to yet. Like Ront has definitely attempted to break, like with pure strength, a couple times, but it is definitely very difficult to do. And it seems like the Drow and the fish guy pretty much seem complacent. The two twins are always in the corner by themselves type thing, so they sometimes seem to be fiddling with the restraints, but don't get very anywhere with it since they don't have the proper tool.
How this cell that we are in, how is it furnished? Are we on bare stone? Are there rushes? What is
bare stone. A couple of stacks of like hay maybe laying around as makeshift beds, but not even really enough to make one worth anything. Alright, so again, another evening comes up. Nothing really exciting has happened.
And I'll again do lullabies.
Alright. This time, Alfonzo.
Yeah.
When you fall asleep, you have again start to have these nightmares. Just this time you're in a complete void, like completely dark, nothing around it, can't hear any sound. It's just a large open space. Every once in a while you get an image, almost like a flash of lightning goes, and you see tentacles swing through in the darkness. A set of 4 glowing red eyes, which seem to be almost like 2 heads next to each other on this massive like vision in front of you, but you can't make out the full scene. It's just complete darkness with these flashes happening every once in a while. Then eventually the tentacles again flash out towards you, become completely oily, drenching you, and you wake up screaming.
Bull!
Everybody else this night seems to have had a peaceful sleep.
Alfonzo will just kind of look around to make sure, see if anyone woke up to that, and then just kind of go back to bed.
It didn't seem that anybody was really startled by it. Everybody seems to kind of be in a sleep that's really deep. Like, you figured you would have woken someone up with the echo that happened, and then obviously paid no attention to it, back to sleep, where you're able to get a fairly decent rest of the night's sleep before you're woken up by the sound of Drow opening the gates once again. This time, the 4 of you, went on the first shift and last time, are bound, gagged, taken this time to the shrine. But you don't have any buckets or anything with you. You are then strapped into different restraints and tortured for the next 8 hours. During this time, you've seen the 2 warriors and the priestess kind of just lashing out at you with different weapons and torture devices. Then, at the end of the 8 hours, the priestess heals you back to full health.
Oh, thanks.
So during the course of the torture, Kayfar can only really deal with it by laughing maniacally and just almost like insanely. He's in obvious pain. He's still kind of screaming and laughing at the same time, and tears streaming down his face, but he can't stop laughing. It's more than anything, it's like it's clear that he's had some sort of psychotic break. And then when he gets healed to full, it's like, well, I hope we can do this again soon.
You see her once again.
Next time, wear something red.
Obviously, you're completely mumbling all that.
That's a good
gag. So
yes,
yeah.
I am completely mumbling all of that.
But she kind of is listening and gets the gist of what you said. Says, remember, learn to be obedient, and you may live throughout this. And the guards take you back to the cell.
I give her a sultry wink.
And she completely ignores you and kind of just waves off. And you see her going back to the shrine and starting to pray as the guards take you out. This time you are led by the guy with the scar back to the pen. And
Does he have the keys?
You do not see keys on him. But when he gets to the pen, he is able to open them, unlock them. You see him put keys back into a hidden pouch on his armor. As he closes the door, though, after everybody's back in there, he does whisper. It says, if you had the means to escape, would you take it?
Absolutely.
This is good. If I can make this happen, you would be on your own. I would provide no other assistance. But during the last shift, I'll delay the guards a little bit to make sure that the gate is left unlocked for you.
Okay. Hey,
Why?
one more question before you go. You that priestess, you think I got a shot? I mean, I think she's taking a shine to me.
She would eat you alive.
Sounds delicious.
If
I'd eat her too. No, I'm just kidding. She worships a bug. That'd be weird.
Whatever. If you succeed, good. If not, it'll be either way, it'll be a blemish on her record. So, like I said, I will leave the keys or gate unlocked for you. Take the opportunity that you need to do so. Try yourself.
Oh, wait. One more question. Do you know where our stuff is?
Your stuff? The only thing, if you had anything of value, like magical items, they would be stored in her quarters. But I would not suggest going after them unless you really risk losing your life. If you wish to escape, best figure out how you wish to do that. Otherwise, any trinkets aren't really worth it. And then you hear him kind of just make sure, give a tug on the gate to make sure it's locked, and you can hear him slowly walking away.
Okay.
All right.
So he would leave the keys for us to get out of our shackles, or just to leave the door unlocked?
Just the door is unlocked. Is all he said.
Sir, you come back.
So you have about what you figured to be at least 8 hours. You come up with a plan on what you would like to do.
So Kayfar will say to the other members of our sort of little group, well, it looks like we're getting out of here today.
And you notice that the rest of the prisoners are still there. They didn't take another shift out to do anything else.
That's odd. We're all here. Have they ever done that before?
I think the priestess's empire is falling apart. She is losing allies. She is gaining enemies. And things are not going to plan. That's why she doesn't have time to send guards to watch us go around picking up pots and cleaning dishes and the like.
So are there any guards outside of our cell currently?
You can't really tell. Every once in a while you'll hear muttering, but you can't really see through the gate, so it's kind of hard to tell if there's anybody out there. And since the slot where the food comes in is closed, there's no real good way to tell. You do know that as many times as you've been taken out, the first guard post is across a rope bridge. And then they do typically have guards patrol the area, so you would think there's somebody around at some point.
Can I gather the twins and Stool around me?
Yeah, you can get everybody kind of get their attention. They all start to gather up around. A couple of actually overheard the discussion, since it is a very small or cram-packed cave. So.
I want to keep the twins as close to me as possible.
All right.
And have we decided how big Stool is?
I mean, he's small, so he's about like a halfling size, so almost the size of a kid.
So, like, I can't tuck him under my feathers.
No, no. I mean, he could probably hold on to your waist or whatever type thing, like a piggyback. But your feathers are still bound. Actually, he could probably grab onto the... Well, no, he's a mushroom-looking thing. He's only got feet. So they're arms.
Are they fast?
No, he's not.
That's going to be a problem because I need to keep him with me.
When he walks around, you see that he moves extremely slow. For him to, in like 6 seconds, he would walk probably about 10 feet.
So he is a turtle.
Sure.
Hey, Stool.
Yeah?
Do you have any kind of magical abilities that make you move faster or smaller or anything like that?
No.
Why would a mushroom need that?
Why would a mushroom need spores that give you telepathy?
Because they're living sentient beings.
I mean, all right, so maybe they need magic to make them smaller or faster because they're living sentient beings.
Like, Stool heard everything. Like, he knows about the plan and what we're attempting, right?
Yeah.
Are they heavy?
I mean, he would be like almost this, like a 2-3-year-old, about that size.
It'd be really lightweight because they're mostly air.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can carry him. Alrighty then.
Alright, so the Drow kind of speaks up, says, so you're going to have 3 choices of how to get out of here. Passageways, at least. Passage to the north leads to Mesoberenzin. I would suggest not going to. The west passage leads towards the Dark Lake. And then a southern passage, which leads toward the Drunkard cities.
The drunkard cities?
Drugard.
Duerjar.
Okay. Anybody up for a swim?
Nice. You can use the waterfalls may actually be a good choice of where to go to leave. The only problem is we have so many. It's going to be a tough trek once we're out, or even getting everyone out.
Well, maybe the first step is for everybody to rush the guardhouse across the way and get keys for these shackles.
Then we can maybe make it to the barracks and get whatever extra supplies they have. Just equip ourselves.
Well, I mean, if they can get the shackles off of me, I can fly. Probably carry the twins.
But how well can you see in the dark? And that is the other.
So, next order of business. If the shackles come off, I can cast Fairy Fire. But then I'm kind of like a nightlight anyway.
Any light source will draw the attention if there's no distraction or anything. It will be a tough escape if all we have is just the keys open.
Do the twins have dark vision?
Most of the creatures in here, except for Ikkiki. Right now, it's the only one that doesn't have.
So, theoretically, speaking to the Drow here, if I were to get the shackles off and my wings are freed and people stop pulling out my feathers so I can actually fly, I could fly to the barracks carrying the twins who can direct me where to go.
Possibly, yes. I guess that might work. The orc kind of speaks up and says, I have no problem fighting anything if we need to get out of here. But we will be at a disadvantage without weapons, so the barracks may be a good idea, unless we just want to get out of here. Then maybe just jump the waterfall and see where that takes us.
Can everybody swim?
To a point.
Yeah, everybody would be able to swim at just slow pace.
Yeah, you move at half speed while swimming it, unless you have a swim speed.
Yeah, and since nobody has armor right now, it's really just the heavy shackles.
And that have our arms together so we can't stroke very easily.
Yeah, it's going to mostly be leg strength.
But I have bird legs.
So a couple other say that they are completely on board with whatever they can do to help get out. Once we get out, a couple of them know different passages towards their homelands should be able to help track pretty easily.
The best thing to do is to go for the guardhouse, get the keys to the shackles and everything, and then maybe even set it on fire to send a bit of a message. And I kind of look over to the Drow and say, that'll send a message if a bunch of escaped slaves even burnt down one of their guardhouses.
The Drow does speak up and says that may be a good idea, because if we do escape and by some means are able to get out of here, we will be pursued. They will not want to let, as he was saying, a blemish be left on the record. We will have to cover our tracks some way. But I definitely do not think an all-out assault against them is a good idea. We can prevent any of that. Alright, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the session a little early.